Welcome everyone. Welcome to Omega Live TV. Today we are in Tottenham High Road, at the NDC office, where they are having an emergency press conference regarding Ghana. What the NDC is saying is that there are not insecurity in Ghana. They feel that at the moment the country is not settled, so therefore they are here to give a statement, to make a statement in terms of what is going on in Ghana. Welcome to Omega Live TV. Yadama say, anyway, Yaba NDC office. Have emergency press conference regarding insecurities in Ghana as they turn it. They say, Ghana, no matter the coso, live on Omega Live TV. Inti small introduction. Small introduction. We kakra I hase. I'm a NDC for welcome, Simon.
Thank you, Kofi Kula.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. We want to good evening to the press and thank you for honoring our invitation. Fellow comrades of the Katamanto family, ladies and gentlemen, we are very pleased to have you here in our presence. We are the UK and Ireland chapter of the great NDC party, and we have called you here this evening to address pertinent matters facing our country under the leadership of the President Akufo-Addo. We in the UK and elsewhere abroad know that whatever happens in Ghana affects us directly because we have families, relatives, residents, acquaintances, investments, businesses, and so on and so forth in Ghana. And for that matter, we are stakeholders in Ghana.
That's right.
It is therefore imperative that we make our voices heard on the difficult situations facing our country as a result of the bad leadership of President Akufo-Addo. Our press conference today will speak on two areas. First, we'll speak on the insecurity that has engulfed our country, Ghana, and how it affects us here in the UK. Yes. And then secondly, we'll talk about the deteriorating state of the Ghanaian economy under the management of Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, and the incompetent MPP government. It is public record that the MPP in opposition under the leadership of Akufo-Addo brought into Ghana 3 mercenaries from South Africa to train the young people in the use of guns and other weapons to commit atrocities on Ghanaians and disrupt the peace and stability of the country in the event that they lost the 2016 general elections. Shame. The then opposition leader, Akufo-Addo himself, is on public record for making statements calling his party youth to rise up to arms and cause mayhem in our country. We remember him very well for his all die be die statement, which is very regrettable and shameful. Unfortunately, as God will have it, and as Providence has a way of solving situations, the MPP won the 2016 general elections, and God saved Ghana from the hands of the planned evil and wickedness of Akufo-Addo and his MPP. Immediately after the 2016 elections, the country was plunged into a state of chaos by the militia of the MPP under the leadership of Akufo-Addo. We all remember very well how members of the Delta Forces, Invisible Forces, Kandahar Boys, Volta Crocodiles, and all the rest of them besieged state institutions and attacked judges. And attacked state institutions, and attacked it. What is even more regrettable is the fact that they attacked the CEO of the Tamale Teaching Hospital in the full glare of patients and people who have gone there to seek treatment.
Very shameful. This is a country where we have a leader who is a lawyer. Yes. And nothing has been done up to now.
The attack on the Regional Security Liaison Officer of Ashanti region is still fresh on our minds. The violent attack of Sam George, an NDC member of parliament for Ningo Pram Pram, during the elections, the by-elections of Ayawaso West Wagon, left Ghanaians in shock.
That's right.
Very.
A lot of violence was perpetrated.
Yes.
We had NPP boys drafted into national security using state security apparatus, using state security regalia, state security resources, police cars, and all of that in masked gear, shooting into unprovoked innocent civilians, which left many wounded, and some of them are still hospitalized.
So sad.
An open threat was made when Kandapa, Minister for National Security, called for the punishment of party militias for attacking a sitting judge in the Ashanti region. A leading member of the MPP, Kennedy Japan, MP for Asin North, dared Kandapa, the Minister for National Security, to subject the party militia to the laws of the land and face his wrath. He publicly stated how the former CEO of BOST, Mr. Alfred Obin-Boatin, had financed, and he himself had financed the operations of all the Akufo-Addo-led militia in the peaceful country Ghana to bring them to power. Samia Wuku, the national organizer of the MPP, on Adom FM's morning program, Ejasun Sem, on the 11th of March 2019, and that's only a few days ago. I think that was just Tuesday gone. In an interview with Osei Bonsu, popularly called Obi, stated that their militia will be deployed and fused into all branches of the MPP in response to a national call for the disbandment of the Akufo-Addo MPP-led militia. Clearly, the MPP is not committed to dealing with the party militia issue and confront it head-on. It is very clear that they are seeking to remove them from the eye of the public, but not to disband and disarm them, as Ghanaians are asking them to do.
How can this be happening in Ghana?
A letter from the Upper West Regional Security Liaison Officer of the MPP, Mr. Tingabu, which has been circulated widely in both print and social media, calls on the youth of the MPP to submit their names for recruitment into a militia group within the MPP.
Yes.
Akufo-Addo, in his 2019 State of the Nation address, called for the disbandment of party militias, but surprisingly, days after his call for disbandment of this militia, a letter written following the directive of Mr. Robert Kunti, the regional chairman of the MPP in the Central Region, directed all constituency executives to form militia groups at the constituency level across the country to protect ballot boxes in 2020. I quote from points 2, 3, and 4 and 5 of the letter. Point 2, and this was what Mr. Kunti asked the constituency executives to do in order that they realize their wicked plan to form new vigilantes in the face of the fact that there is a national call for peace and the disbandment of the militia. As Akufo-Addo was making rhetorics and insincere statements in public and in parliament before Ghanaians, his party was secretly and privately organizing brand new militia groups within his and so I refer to point 2 of Mr. Robert Kuti's letter. In point 2 he states all constituency chairmen must secure a place for this group for their training and other regional and other operations. The place should be known only to the team members of the security reasons. All constituency chairmen must secure a place for the group for their training and other operations. I think I've taken that already. The core mandate of this group is to protect our ballot boxes, and that is the MPP. Is to protect our ballot boxes in our strongholds and cause mayhem. And I say it again, to cause mayhem in the strongholds of the NDC in the region. Constituencies like, and he mentioned some of the places where they need to cause mayhem because they think the MPP is gaining a lot of strength in those constituencies.
It will not happen.
Like Asikuma Odobin Brakwa, Agona West, Cape Coast North, Infanseman, Awutu Senya West, Gomoa West, and Asin North must take this exercise very seriously for some reasons. The organizers in the various regions, in the various constituencies, should champion this cause and automatically become chairmen of the leaders of these new vigilante groups that are to be formed.
God save Ghana.
All the cost of this exercise was to be borne by the regional minister and the MMDCs in various constituencies. And so obviously our state resources is being used by Akufo-Addo to finance his vigilante groups in his party so that they can cause mayhem to Ghanaians in the 2020 elections. But sadly, he's going around the country making rhetorics as if he's committed to the dismantlement of the militias. Only yesterday, he had instructed the Attorney General to draft a bill to be placed before Parliament to make a law to disband this militia. When the parties that were in his own statement had been asked to meet and look at disbanding this militia, have already started talks and already making plans to get the discussion process in place. He jumps in and tries to divert attention and confuse everybody and asks for an Attorney General to start a process to legislate on vigilantism in our country. And so this goes to say why the NDC never believe in the sincerity of Akufo-Addo and have asked that we need to bring in stakeholders to deal with the issue of vigilantism. And that is why former President Mahama said in his statement that the issue of vigilantism is not as simplistic as Akufo-Addo is saying, because he knows that the MPP party are doing a lot in secret against our country. While this was happening, and this was all around the country, and people are in panic and in fear, Joy FM undercover journalist Manasseh Azuri Awini conducted an investigation and exposed there again the lies and the hypocrisy of our current government and administration. At the Castle Osu, which is an annex of this of the presidency, where 4 ministers of state are housed, Manasseh's investigation found out that 400 members of an MPP militia group called the I Group were housed in there and were trained in there every day. Their leader clearly states that they have about 5,000 of them across the country. Ladies and gentlemen invited here present, we seem to be in a very difficult and dangerous time under Akufo-Addo. We seem Akufo-Addo is raising an army which is parallel to the state mandated security forces, and which is weakening the morale of our security agencies. Unfortunately, just yesterday, while there was an ongoing impasse between lecturers and administrators of University of Education in Winneba, where police personnel were deployed there to bring peace and calm in the campus, a member of the MPP who is known and is associated with the militia guys in their party, Honorable Kennedy Ajapong, went in there. Ajapong again, say again. Ajapong was there intimidating and publicly threatening police officers.
Unacceptable.
And telling them that he will get them removed from the police force if they carried on doing their job.
How can a man
we want to tell Akufo-Addo and his government that Ghana is not for them. Ghanaians have a right to live in peace. The President John Mahama bequeathed a peaceful country to him. Former President Rawlings, John Ajekum Kufuor, Atta Mills, and all the rest of them held Ghana together in peace. I want to tell him that he cannot plunge Ghana into chaos because of his desperation to continue to lead the country. Whilst on security, I want to also mention the disappearance of the 3 girls in Takoradi. They have gone missing for more than 3 months now. Some of them have gone missing for over 200 days. The government, instead of using the energy of the state and the resources of the state to find these lost girls and bring joy and consolation to the parents of these girls, the government is rather channeling resources into forming vigilantes and planning chaos for 2020, as it is stated in the letter by Robert Kunti, the Central Regional Chairman of the MPP. We wish to state very clearly, in no ambiguous terms, that the MPP and the Akufo-Addo government must hold Ghana together in peace and hand it over to the NDC in 2020 in peace. Ghanaians deserve to live in peace. Ghanaians are hardworking people. Ghanaians continue to go about their duties, and unfortunately, the attack has been extended to media houses. Today, our media men in Ghana can no longer do their work in a free, fair, neutral, professional manner without being attacked. We all know very well how Kennedy Japan and other people of the MPP have organized themselves into an attack machine for the government on Anas, Aremeyaw Anas, for exposing the corruption right under the nose of the presidency of Akufo-Addo. In his recent expose on the Galamsey issue, where a secretary to the task force, Charles Cromwell Bissell, was alleged to have taken bribe.
At his age.
Yes. Akufo-Addo and his militia people are attacking Anas and have made him a sworn enemy of their government. We wish to state very clearly that Anas is not only working under Akufo-Addo. Anas is a renowned journalist and had worked under previous governments, the government of Atamils. We still remember very well that what was discovered at the ports, the corruption that was discovered at the ports, and what the Atamils-led government did to make sure that there was sanity and corruption was rooted out. We still also remember very well how Anas worked freely, uninterrupted, no victimization, no attacks on his life, no threats under former President Mahama. When he conducted his work into corruption in the judiciary, which actually led to most of the judges being removed from the bench, and in order to ensure fairness in the adjudication of justice in our country. Unfortunately, Anas is now being bastardized and attacked by Kennedy Japan and the likes of him in the MPP party. We wish to state that this is not the way to go. It just goes to expose that Akufo-Addo is not sincere in his fight against corruption. He is doing everything to cover up corruption and stop journalists from doing their legitimate duty. The death of Ahmed Swali is not lost on us. We want to express our sympathy to the family of Ahmed Swali and all Ghanaians. And we also pray for the life of all journalists in our country. We solidarize with them on their attacks. In the recent human rights report issued just last week, Ghana for the first time is on record for violations, intimidations, victimization, and actually killings of journalists and media men in our country. Ghana is on the international radar for very bad reasons under Akufo-Addo. And yet we hear them talking about painting Ghana black. So we said, if there's anybody painting Ghana black, isn't this painting Ghana black?
They provided the black paint. And we're going to paint for them. That's right.
We call on Akufo-Addo to allow the NDC and the civil society organizations that the NDC has called on, to join in the disbandment of these vigilantes, to allow them to work and not try to circumvent the process by going round and asking for legislation just to frustrate the process. Ghanaians deserve to live in peace.
Yes.
Ghanaians did not commit any crime by voting Akufo-Addo and his government into office. Ghanaians did not vote Akufo-Addo and his government to come and kill them. Ghanaians did not vote Akufo-Addo and his government to come and make them live in fear and panic. We receive a lot of phone calls here in the UK as citizens from our friends, and all we hear about is our country is terrible, our country is not safe, our country is not safe. They continue to live. Some of us, if we ask our children to go to Ghana with us, they refuse to go because they read on the media social media the killings and the threats that are going on in Ghana, and so they do not want to go to Ghana. Is that not true, ladies and gentlemen? And so we here in the UK want to call on Akufo-Addo as the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces to use his power to do away with the vigilantism and violence.
This one is a militia.
Stop being a commander-in-chief of militia, but to be a commander-in-chief of our state security institutions, and stop intimidating our state institutions, security institutions. Allow them to do their work in a professional manner as we know them to be.
Yes.
Now I'll go to the second issue that I want to talk about, and that will be on the economy. We all remember Dr. Bawumia very well in opposition before the election of 2016. Unfortunately, his lies and propaganda has carved a new name for him. He's now referred to as Dr. Bawumia. Can someone help me? What is Bawumia's new name?
Now he's missing in action.
Thank you very much. Okay. So now,
His lies have exposed him.
thank you. We would like to ask Akufo-Addo and Bawumia and his economic management team to arrest the declining dollar. Unfortunately, Bloomberg is on record to have published that the Ghana cedi is now the weakest currency in the whole of Africa, including countries like Somalia, including countries like Zimbabwe. The Ghana's economy is the weakest according to Bloomberg.
Facts and figures, not politics.
I would like to remind Vice President Bawumia of his numerous economic lectures when he was in opposition, and tell him that Ghanaians are really missing those lectures. We urge him to return back to the lecture room, as Ghanaians need those lectures now than ever.
Book economists.
Today, the exchange rate between the Ghana cedi and the US dollar is $1 to 5 cedis 76 pesos.
And it's never been in history.
And the pound sterling is 7 cedis and 20 pesos. Only 2 years into the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia led economic management team. And yet remember very well, when the economic management team was put together, Bawumia was mentioning titles and names of the people in the management team. Unfortunately, names and titles do not manage economy. Competence and planning and knowledge of the economy runs an economy.
So true.
The MPP inherited an exchange rate of $1 to 4.2 Ghana cedis.
You were very comfortable then.
I would like to refer to some of the comments Akufo-Addo made in opposition about the economy. Akufo-Addo on Twitter, that is on the 4th of May 2016, and I quote, "The current depreciation of the Ghana cedi against the US dollar is because of bad leadership. We will not be where we are today to buy dollars for 3.72. Vote for change." And we're talking about, this is a tweet that was sent out on May of 2016. So as of May 2016, the Ghana cedi to the dollar was 3.62. At it is 5.76.
No.
Even then, at 3.72, Akufo-Addo called for a change in government. Today it is 5.6 and likely to hit 6 Ghana cedis to a dollar
By next week.
by the end of March.
So he should do the
2025, he should go.
We call on Ghanaians to vote out the super incompetent Akufo-Addo government based on his own words in opposition. Thank you. It's coming back again, and the people say, "Hey, Joe Bodo, hey, Joe Bodo, hey, Joe Bodo, hey, Joe Bodo, hey, Joe Bodo," and the people say, "Hey, Joe Bodo." Thank you. And today, I want to, let's go back to the statement. I want to refer to Baumia's statement, which he made on Facebook on the 2nd of May 2012. And I quote him. The exchange rate is rapidly depreciating while the inflation is in a single digit and stable. Ladies and gentlemen, something does not add up.
Yes.
The rapid exchange rate depreciation observed suggests that inflation could be higher than what is captured by official data. Today, the Bank of Ghana is reducing interest rate and the cedi is depreciating speedily under Bawumia.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, help me tell Bawumia something. That something is not adding up under his leadership.
Certainly.
As the head of the economic management team, and he needs to give way.
That's right.
Bawumia has gone into hiding. Ghanaians are looking for him and cannot find him. We urge him to come as we look for him.
He's under Doomsaw.
Ladies and gentlemen, the corruption under this government is so bad that we cannot even finish mentioning all of them. We remember the famous or infamous Ken Bond, 2.2 billion Ken Bond.
Wow.
Remember very well the 2.5 million Ghana Post GPS. We also remember the bus scandal. We also remember very well the CEO of the Ghana Maritime Authority, who used a lot of money, running into millions, to extend a 2-bedroom house into a 4-bedroom house. The list goes on and on and on. Bawumia and recently outdoored narco boys and girls and boasted that that's Akufo-Addo, and boasted that they had employed 10,000 of them. Today, as we speak,
After lining them up,
they are all on demonstration because they have not been paid.
419 president.
Teacher training allowances and nursing training allowances are in arrears. Hospitals are shut down and locked up. Brand new hospitals are not opened. New schools built by John Mahama remain locked up as students ran a shift and traffic light system of education at our secondary schools. The government has been caught out by NAGRAT and NAT on their plan to privatize basic education. Yesterday, the Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Chum, came to say that government is not planning to privatize private education, basic education. We thank the effort of NAGRAT, NAT, and all educational stakeholders in Ghana for their role in stamping out the conniving plan of the Akufo-Addo to privatize education.
Yes.
Today, our educational record is plunged so bad. The recent WASI results, which was published, indicate that performance in education, in science, maths, and integrated science have slumped very badly. Wow. We want to tell Akufo-Addo and his government that if Dr. Opoku Prempeh is not fit for the job, they need to replace him with somebody who is competent and stop playing politics with our education. We had a minister of education who was a professor and knew what he was doing. It was the time when Ghana received awards under Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman.
Oh, yes.
Ghana's education, people from Nigeria and all across Africa and other parts of the world came to Ghana. Today, people are moving away from Ghana.
Yes.
The economy is so bad that, and this is now I'm going to the actual economy. The economy is so bad that investors are actually disinvesting from our economy. Wow. People are moving their monies away from Ghana. You know, it is very sad that instead of attracting investments, we are actually losing investments. And the government is deceiving itself and deceiving its members that it is doing very, very well. Unfortunately, the sad truth is that everything about this government and everything about the economic management is failing.
It's 419.
All is 419 and propaganda.
And we're in crisis.
The economy is in crisis. Akufo-Addo has surrounded himself with his families of over 50 people, and they are just cronies, and they're just chopping the money anyhow. Akufo-Addo is treating Ghanaian economy as if it is private property. We ask Ghanaians to rise up to the occasion, stand up for their right, and remove the MPP government from power come 2020 and bring back the NDC government for progress. Our presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, has a track record of performing as he delivered when he was president, and we urge Ghanaians to return Mahama back so he can continue with the good works that he did. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. We would like to ask a few questions.
That's okay.
You mentioned about militia groups, and I just want to find out, does NPP also have militia groups?
NDC,
yes. Do they have militia groups just like NPP, as you are saying?
No, we have consistently said that the NDC does not have militia groups. There may be individuals in the party who have got boys who follow them. Like, I know there's a popular thing in Ghana, the Azoka boys, but we have consistently said that the Azoka boys belong to the Chief Azoka, who is the former Northern Regional chairman of our party, and now the vice chairman, national vice chairman of our party. So for Azoka boys are Azoka boys and not NDC. The NDC does not have bona fide militia or vigilantes as the MPP has and is using state funds to finance them. The NDC does not have that.
Do you condone vigilantism, or are you against it as a party?
We are against vigilantism. We have never supported vigilantism. And so you remember very well that in our recent elections, where we elected our flag bearers and where we did most of our elections, we asked that the police become the only security agency that to provide protection at the place. If we believed in vigilantes, we would have used vigilantes to protect us, as the MPP did when they did the where did the I group go? Remember when they did a program and the I group went there with Kofo and the rest of them, and Dombo, exactly. So we do not have that, and we do not condone that, and that is why we think that the Akufo-Addo government should be honest and come to the table with honesty, so that we disband them. That's why we're calling stakeholders like the Peace Council, the Christian Council, the Ghana Pentecostal Council, the clergy, IDENG, and all of them, we've written to them and they've responded positively. And that is why we find it very shocking that Akufo-Addo is trying everything possible to distract the process by starting legislation.
They should stop watching animals programs.
To me, vigilantism is not a way forward for our country. And what's your view about it?
That's what I just said, that we do not believe in vigilantes. We never have vigilantes. The NDC has never condoned or will never support vigilantism.
Now, once they follow other NDC members, then they have vigilantism.
Now, you see, that is why we're saying that. I don't know whether you heard our General Secretary just about 2 days ago when he said that somebody was talking about the Hawks, and he said it very clearly that in an interview that the Hawks do not belong to the party. We don't recognize them. They have no place in our party. And so we have publicly and privately said that we do not believe in them. They are not part of us, and we never share them.
Let's move on to Anas. You mentioned Anas.
That's correct.
And you feel that the way you are saying it, that means Anas, the way he operates is something good for the country as far as NDC is concerned.
Thank you very much. In order that I'll allow other members to also contribute to this debate, I want any of them here to respond to that. And so this is the former organizer of the chapter, Mr. Alex.
You mentioned Anas.
Yes.
Anas has mentioned that he is exposing corruption. And from my understanding, Akufo-Addo in 2012, endorsed Anas. However, Anas has become very kind of a complex situation for our country. And I am not for Anas. However, it seems like in your statement, you are endorsing Anas. You feel that Anas is stopping corruption. And I feel that Anas is not the way forward. So what are your views about that?
Thank you very much. I believe strongly that yourself, you know the answer for your question, but still I will explain. I think in every country or every situation where we have all accepted a certain rule that governed our country, that if everybody behave or accept that rule and go according to that rule, then there is order and peace. Our country has witnessed a lot of challenges in terms of corruptions, in terms of vices and things that happen in our country. So if we have people like Anas who can expose people so that they will be deterred in doing something, it is something that I think every well-meaning Ghanaian should accept and endorse Anas that he's doing a great job. You are in the United Kingdom. We have seen much of that in this country. and we have seen how their economy is. If we have similar situation, I believe most of us wouldn't be even coming to this country. So ANA's work is a very laudable one. I think we should encourage more people to be doing such a job.
Now, I mean, you spoke about how do we reduce generate jobs in Ghana. I mean, you know, at the moment you said we are in a crisis situation.
Yeah, I would like our former vice chairman, Mr. Dr. Joe Uswajiman, to answer that.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dr. Baumia made some lectures regarding, and then the way he was talking like Ghana was going to be paradise. And then there was time that we were even scared that Ghana was going to change and it become like all the white people be going to Ghana, and then like vice versa. But they're all lies. Talking about jobs, we are talking about permanent jobs, not short-term, long-term jobs where people can go through the jobs and get their pension, and then they know that this is a job that, you know, in terms of security, job security. But that's not what. Think about Night Corp. What are they doing? You just merge these people, stand there, so people were collapsing, and then after, I've got a cousin, he's been there and still, he hasn't been paid. And you're talking about creating jobs. Is that how to create jobs? Of course not. And that is what MPP, they are behind lies and they are talking. And sometimes I feel sorry. What they do is they tickle themselves and laugh. Yes. And they think that's the way forward. But I think this is very, very bad for Ghana in terms of moving forward. You know.
You also mentioned about corruption under Akufo-Addo. What are some of the things that you have experienced as corruption? And comparing that to Mama administration, during Mama terms, you know, how do you feel? What are the differences, or if you can point out some of the differences that you have identified that you call crisis in our country, okay, and insecurity?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, when you compare, it's very easy. This is not calculus. It's not scientific thing that you need a calculator. This is a simple thing. President John Mahama and NDC time, a lot of people were sanctioned and then went to court, and one of them was even an MP, and it's called Abuga Pele. But you name one person, what you're doing is the president has now become a clearing agent, and then when you do any form of corruption, you be cleared by the president. You know, and now instead of go to Temahabo and Takrade, there's hardly you can see people getting goods out. What you're doing is the clearing agents are in the what we call the Jubilee House, where the president is clearing everyone, you know, in terms of corruption. So what I'm saying is every Ghanaian who has been following Ghana politics will know that President Mahama and the NDC government were able to bring corruption to a minimum. Sure. But this government, you know, is instead of corruption being the nosedive, is going upwards, and this cannot be the way forward for Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me add something, Kofi Kula, very quickly. You know, in the recent what do you call it, independence that was celebrated in the northern region, Tamale, $3 million was spent on the independence celebration. $3 million. Can you imagine the number of schools that can be built? Can you imagine the number of hospitals, the number of jobs, the number of people sleeping rough?
Where is this source from, please?
Yes, it is coming from the government himself, the government itself, and one umbrella. Government contract given to party members and cronies. One umbrella costs 116 Ghana cedis.
Even the tissue they use.
Tissue paper, and they said they bought 10,000 of those umbrellas. How much does an umbrella cost in Ghana today? I can get an umbrella for about 10 Ghana cedis. So obviously, a tissue paper was costing about 20 Ghana cedis. That's 200 Ghana cedis in old currency. You know, it's all about treating the finances of the economy as if it's Akufo-Addo's private economy. I mean, look at Gabi Asaro-Dako, the president's nephew. He's given a contract to him. He's giving a contract to him to review all contracts that were awarded in Ghana into the past, how many years?
15 years.
For the past 15 years, running into millions of Ghana cedis, just because he wants to find a way to siphon money onto his family members.
Now we want to talk about inflation. You mentioned also, I mean, I want to ask a few questions. I'm not going to be long.
Yes.
You know, you talk about inflation, yes. You know, then exchange rate, you know, so what is the way forward around that?
Thank you very much. Remember that when we were in power, the then candidate, the vice candidate, Alhaji Bawumia, the vice president, said that he doesn't believe in statistics. Like when Ghana statistics gave us the inflation, because we, the NDC, we try to put inflation on single decade, but he said no, it's not true. Now the inflation is in single decade. The issue is because something Philip curves. Philip curve means when people are not getting money, when they don't have money to buy things in the market, yeah, it drops inflation. So this is what Bawumia, the economic guru, the economic prophet, is saying, that they are now doing better, and yes, and that this government, I call it family and thief government. So the inflation issue is not like the inflation issue is not on track record, because Ghanaians are suffering. Let me quote his own words: Ghanaians are suffering, teachers are suffering, nurses are suffering, and children are suffering, and are suffering, and teachers are suffering, and are suffering. President himself also are suffering. And 123 ministers, now 125 million, they are all suffering. We can't see anything. Let me tell you this. Remember, last month, European Commission has blacklisted Ghana into 23 countries. We are practicing money laundering, anti-money laundering. This have never happened in Ghana. Never. And that this government,
too bad.
It has never happened under this government, and only this government. So what we are saying that, where are our money going? This year, go and read 2019 budget. You will cry. GMPC, they want Parliament to pass. What we call it? They want Parliament to pass budget for them. So now we have Zongo Development Ministry. Do you know who is building that AfroTEF? It's GMPC. So all the money they are doing for them, where is the money? Where is the money? We are asking more questions. Yes. That all this money, they have done it. Where is that money? So we got one child said, Nesikane wahin. Sikane ewahifa. Thank you.
With the exchange rate, is it got something to do? Does it have something to do with the world in terms of the depression, you know, with the whole world? How things are going on?
When we talk about exchange rate, you are looking at the value at which you get your money in terms of other currency. Now, we Ghanaians import to the country, and some of them also export to other countries. So now, what is happening now is that you need to take a large quantity of Ghanaian money in order to get a small one to me. So when it happens like this, you can see that the importers in our country are losing. This is all as a result of government activities, because there are something we call demand pool inflation and cost pool inflation. So you can see that what we have witnessed under Dr. Bawumia in terms of trying to tell Ghanaians that
you mentioned a lot. I mean, when everyone is talking, they mention about Bawumia, rather than Nanado. Why?
No. We are because we have listened to Dr. Bawumia.
Yes.
He has professed to understand the fundamentals of economics, and he has even at a point in time said that when they assume power, they are going not to even. There was agreement between
the IMF and the state. Because you mention him a lot, everything, but everywhere, all the media.
So what now? He said that when they come, they are not even going to go on with our relationship in terms of financing our economy with IMF and the World Bank, but now they have actually accepted that as a whole. And when you look at the way the economy is working, while Dr. Bawumia professed at the time, one would have expected that Dr. Bawumia would be on the stage now and say that, look, what I was really doing, it was a theory that my lecture was teaching me, and not based on any practical fundamental economics where the Mahama-led NDC. We have demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that given the opportunity, we have developed Ghana. Apart from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, even somebody can even contest that NDC has done more than Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in terms of economy, because we can do comparative analysis taking into account the population at the time, the value of the currency at the time. So if you want to go to all this, we will not finish. Since this is just
last question I'm asking you is that you mentioned about insecurity, and that is the main reason you are here. The NDC insecurity at the time of John Mahama at a Mills, and now the insecurities, as you tell me now, what is the difference, and why do you feel that Ghana is in a crisis? That's my last question.
Deputy Chapter Women's Organizer.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said, or understand my question?
Yes, sir, I did. It's very clear. We don't have to beat around the bush. It's so clear, and that Ghana, the lawlessness in Ghana is too much.
Well, under this government,
from the day, from the day this man was sworn into office.
My question is, the insecurities during the Mahama administration, Atta Mills administration, and now the present insecurities you're talking about. Is there a difference, and what can you do differently to what is happening now?
Children were not kidnapped under Mahama.
No, please, go on.
It's okay. The insecurity compare to when John Dramani Mahama was in power, when the NDC government was in power. Compare it to now, the insecurity is very, very worse. It's gone from bad to worse. You know, since Nana Akufo-Addo was sworn into office as the president of the Republic of Ghana, that is where the lawlessness and insecurity started. This is where we had this Delta forces and the invisible forces, you know, removing people from office that the president have appointed. They went there, kidnapped the man, beat him, and now the man has become a sick man now. He has actually become a sick man. He can't even walk straight. They broke his back.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
This is where these same invisible forces attacked Nanka Bruce at the entrance of the presidency. And at the end of the day, do you know the funny thing? They got away with the crime. But the security man, the police officer and the soldiers that were at the post, they got the punishment for the invisible forces. They were punished. They sent them to the BNI to pay because they leaked the tape out. This same invisible and this Delta forces, you know what? I don't even know the difference, to be honest with you. They are the same. These same invisible and Delta forces, when Nana Akufo-Addo was sworn into office, they took over all the government institutions that their government is in power. So they are taking over. We all heard about what happened in the toll booths. They go there, beat them up, throw them out of the booth, and all those things. And you know, went into a police station where they have arrested some of the Delta forces. They went there, broke into the cell, beat up the police officers that were at post, and you know, got their people out from there. We had this case that their people were taken to court. They went into the courtroom. You know, even a pregnant magistrate or lawyer, a judge, had to run for her life because of all these things. That's what we're saying. Now our girls are gone missing. And we have a whole gender minister came out to say that she is not security, so she cannot produce the girls. there are, you know, a whole lot of terrible things happening under the watch of Nana Akufo-Addo, and he doesn't even care. Look at what happened at this by-election at Ayawaso West Wagon. Up to now, Nana has not even come out to condemn this incident. He hasn't. And not even to talk of going to the hospital to visit the victims at the hospital. He hasn't even said nothing. 3 days after this incident, Nana packed up his stuff and traveled out of the country. Came back and didn't even bother looking for these people. At the end of the day, they don't have party colors on their body. Their skin is Ghana skin. Yes. Wow. And not party skin. So at least he should have known that as a president, everybody, he is a president, not just the president of MPP, but the president of the whole Ghana country. So he should stand up for Ghanaians. He should fight for Ghanaians, and not just MPP.
I mean, I've just received a question. The question said, "Stop blasphemy. How dare you compare your government economic management to the president of Nkrumah?" How do you answer that?
No, what question from?
So the person said we should stop blaspheming. Meaning
stop from Facebook. So question from Facebook. I've got a question from Facebook, and the question is, stop blasphemy. How dare you compare your rubbish economic management to that of President Nkrumah?
Thank you, Kofi Kula. I'll take that. You know, we say that in Ghana's history, ever since Ghana was founded, if anybody ever laid down any economic foundation for the development of a country, if you take out Nkrumah, it is NDC that is next. And these are facts. Nkrumah built all the schools and the harbour and the Akosombo Dam and the motorways. But then look around. Apart from what Nkrumah built, any university that is built in Ghana, if it's not Nkrumah, it is the NDC. Yes. Any university, and we can name it them. The University of Energy and Natural Resources in the Brongahaf was built by the NDC. The University of Health and Allied Sciences in the Volta region was built by the NDC. The University of Development Studies was built by the NDC. What do you call it? The Eastern Region, University of Environment, Environmental Studies. The charter had been passed and everything before we left office to be built. We have built over 123 secondary schools. Hospitals, mention hospitals. It was Rawlings who started the building of regional hospitals, polyclinics, district hospitals, and all of that. I mean, what are we talking about? Roads. It is only under, I remember very well in the Brongahafo, if anybody was traveling from the Brongahafo to the Ashanti region, you had to have 2 pairs of clothes. And also, you are from the Brongahafo, and so we know what we're talking about. It took you 4 hours, and you needed to go in spare clothes, so that when you go there, you look for a place to buy a bucket of water, wash yourself, and change into the new clothes, because by the time you get there, all your clothes would have become brown. It was Rawlings who tarred the roads across the length, asphaltic, across the length of and breadth of Ghana. From Sunyani to Domahinkro was tarred by Rawlings, and this is not a lie. It's there for Ghana to say. I went to Ghana recently, and I was traveling from the Brongahafo region to my hometown, Navrongo, and I was marveled by the amount of road infrastructure that has been built by the NDC. I remember very well when we used to go from the northern region, from Bolgatanga or Navrongo to Techiman. It took you about 6 hours. I traveled there in about 4 to 5 hours. Smooth, safe, very nice. And so whoever said the blasphemy, that no, he should tell me any school. And they talk about education. Name one school that's one university in Ghana that was built by the MPP.
National Cathedral.
National Cathedral is their priority. When they are killing people, they think National Cathedral will whitewash them. National Cathedral cannot whitewash your evil ways and sins. It is what you do to the people, taking care of them, that can wash your sins and make you clean. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The main issue that you are here today is that you feel that As a party, there are insecurities in Ghana, which you have spoken about, and I've asked you a number of questions. All I want to say is that, you know, you have also expressed yourself in terms of the differences during the Mahama administration or time and also the Akufo-Addo, but it's not kind of detailed enough. And maybe if you can let our listeners know a bit about the differences. You talk about the economy during the Mahama type period and the economy now as a close-off. You know, if you feel that all the challenges that you are facing now, and was it good times during the Mahama time for Ghanaians?
Yes, no? And let me carry on. Let me answer that. Under John Mahama and under President Mills, it was the time when the Ghanaian economy ever grew by 14%, the leading economy in the whole of Africa in 2014. Yes. Under Professor Arthur Mills. Under John Mahama and under Professor Mills, which were all NDC governments. Ghanaians had access. Ghanaians had access to financing. Banks. There were so many banks that sprang up. It was the only time in our history when indigenous Ghanaians and businesses could set up. Indigenous Ghanaians could set up banks. Banks that were owned by Ghanaians that employed thousands of people. And I can mention them: the Heritage Bank, UT Bank, Unibank, Eco Bank, Fidelity Bank, and the rest of them. What's the name of Paco Sindum's bank? GN Bank, and all of them. They employed thousands of Ghanaians, gave loans to businesses to grow, and financed our local women who needed petty traders, who needed small sums of money to be able to do their businesses and keep their families together. Under Akufo-Addo, he has collapsed all the banks, so that the bank of his cousin, Data Bank, Kenneth Farata's bank, can be the only bank in Ghana that will survive, so that they can take all the money. And strangely, he took all the staff. Ken Farata, when he became finance minister, took all the staff of Data Bank and put them into the Bank of Ghana. And so virtually Bank of Ghana has become an extension of Data Bank. Yes. And he's using the Bank of Ghana with his men there to bring down all banks so that Data Bank can continue to be the only bank that will survive. As we speak, every bond that is issued in Ghana by the government, it is Data Bank that becomes the transaction advisors. And for those who understand all these things, they will tell you that a lot of commission and money goes into banks for acting as transaction advisors to the government. And so that's another way of siphoning money from the economy. So what I'm telling you is that we grew the economy, we provided jobs, we allowed businesses to thrive. Under John Mahama, Ghanaian men and women in business had a lot of money to do their businesses. They were not harassed and intimidated. They were not targeted by the government and brought down just for businesses of family and friends and cronies and political party members to survive. And so that's the difference between the economy of ex-President John Mahama and the economy of Akufo-Addo.
Thank you.
And before let me add something small. It's on record. You can check it from anywhere that over 5,000 Ghanaians lost their jobs under Akufo-Addo, from the banking sector to the media fraternity. The media is not left out as they continue to face intimidation and harassment. How many radio stations have collapsed or were pulled down by Akufo-Addo so that they will be gagged and that they cannot talk? As we speak now, today I heard from Asempa FM and Adom FM, the number of their journalists who have been attacked by Akufo-Addo's militia and the securities of our state.
So why have they not reported to the police?
They have, and actually, that's what they were referring to. You put the matter, but because Akufo-Addo has failed as security agency.
Is there truth in this? Why have they not?
We're talking about Joy FM and Adom FM, and we're talking about their reporters. I can remember Rafik. Is it Rafik Salam? Yes, I remember Rafik. I remember. Is this Sechiwa or what? Who? Somebody should remind me.
The one they beat at the Fetchy office and said, I think it's a tomato sauce.
No,
just for our listeners. That's why I'm asking.
There are lots of them. Yeah, there are 5 of them who have been beaten. and he alive. If anybody think I'm lying, yeah, even today it was being discussed. Yeah. You know, and so journalists are not safe under Akufo-Addo. They are attacked because he does not feel safe because they're going to expose the rot in his government. That is where we are. Under John Mahama, the media men could lambast him and trash the government. I mean, Manasseh, you remember the Ford expedition story, which MPP took advantage of, and I remember Mustafa Hamid ran around and organized press conferences, and Bugin Abu speaking to that press conference. They were never attacked. They were never harassed. They lived in freedom. They worked. They did their work. Today, you dare not speak about Akufo-Addo and go home and sleep freely.
That's right.
You receive death threats. As Manasseh Azura will continue to receive death threats. And Akufo-Addo, he never received death threats when he did the Ford expedition. Thank you. And don't be silly. We are the first NDC.
We thank you all today at Omega TV. We came here because NDC said the country is in a crisis. They said the country is in a crisis. That's why they are here. They are here because they feel that the country is in crisis. And it is why they are here. And we came to cover the program.